My name is Lon Pinkerton. I'm a candidate in the forthcoming Douglas South by-election on Thursday, the 27th of August.
Great. Well, this might be reiterating slightly stuff we've already said, but what would be your top priority if elected for the next 12 months?
My top priority over the next 12 months would be our response to the pandemic, especially to those people who've spoken to my representatives on the doorstep who've got concerns about their jobs, livelihoods, and also the state and the future of our public services.
Well, how are you going to aid those concerns?
I've gone on record as saying that I would accept tax rises as part of the process. I think our government reserves eventually will run out at some point. They're there for a purpose. They're there to support the community at times of need. We haven't seen a national crisis like this, I don't believe, since the end of the Second World War in the 1940s. And I think all options should be on the table. And I'm not afraid to say that I think that tax rises are possible.
Well, others have picked up on the fact that rates and the cost of gas and things like that in the area are already too high. Are you concerned that Douglas South isn't the area that may support a controversial idea like raising taxes?
It would support the people on lower incomes in the area. They need to be supported at this time. The 1 in 6 of us live below the living wage as a society, and bearing in mind that only 3 years ago, in World Bank statistics, we were the 8th richest country in the world. It's worrying for me that on one hand we have this sort of worldwide view that the island is this place that attracts business and it's prosperous and well off, whereas on the streets, from what I see in the area, especially where I live, is that people are struggling and are going to continue to struggle for the foreseeable future.
Well, you're standing as an independent candidate, but you describe yourself as a democratic socialist. Can you explain or tell us a bit more about those policies that go along with that?
Absolutely. My belief in democracy is 100%. Everybody's vote, doesn't matter what you earn or who you are, everybody's vote should have equal value to another person. My view of socialism is that everybody's in it for the collective effort of everybody else. I accept that some people rise through the ladder in life and earn more money than others. It's just that I don't want the others to get left behind by that system. My dad told me once a lesson that I never forgot. He said, don't forget, the money doesn't start at the top and work its way down. It starts at the bottom and then works its way up. So I'm very mindful of that. That was a lesson that he taught me many years ago. I also believe that government, with the £100 million economic fund that it's announced, is investing in the economy, and we need to get the businesses supported again. The areas like the hospitality, while the borders are closed, they're suffering great hardship, and I'd like to secure them for the future.
Where do you stand on the current border policy?
I absolutely agree with it 100%. Due to the death of my father-in-law, sadly, our family had to travel off to Slovakia for a couple of weeks, and we're currently self-isolating until this coming weekend, which means that I'll miss the rest of the campaign as well. What this has brought home is that it is so important, because if this had happened, say, 3 or 4 months ago, we wouldn't have been able to go to support my mother-in-law at this time. Upon return, I've got absolutely no issue. I think the borders need to remain closed at the moment to non-residents. I know from my own experience of being in London only the weekend before last, it felt like, you're walking through a movie scene. In fact, even in the hotel that we were staying in, there was only one other room that was occupied near London City Airport. So there's worrying times as well for the economy in the UK. And I think that will have a direct effect on the island as well.
Well, talking about that elephant in the room, you are on the phone, you're in isolation at the moment, you haven't got the same opportunities to canvass as the other candidates. Are you in a losing battle?
I don't think so. Like I say, I've tried to embrace social media the best way I can. I updated and sent out a final manifesto yesterday evening. I've made quite a number of policy decisions that I think people would find interesting on there in regards to things like the speed limit. I've also been quite clear that I'm 100% independent. As part of this election process, I've only spent a little over £200, which I'm reclaiming as part of the expenses. In general, you could actually recoup in excess of £4,000 as part of your election expenses to do with advertising in your manifesto. I don't believe, as a person, that I would feel comfortable doing that. I've also got on record on my manifesto as saying, if I am successful on Thursday as an MHK, I would only draw the salary. I wouldn't make any additional expense claims or reimbursements at all as part of being an MHK.
Well, touching on one of those points then, speed limits, what's your stance there? Because this has been in the news lately that, of course, people are concerned about in the more rural areas of high speed limits. Would you lower them?
I think we need to have a proper consultation. I'm just treating this purely as a road safety issue for our community. I'm sure there'll be those with a view as to why we need to have unrestricted speed limits to attract maybe tourists as part of the TT, for example. But there's nothing to stop during the TT period, say from the hairpin in Ramsey to the Craigney Bar, being a temporary 2 weeks, no speed limit at all, so that those who wish to use that at that time could use it. I gave an example on my manifesto of the A595 coast road in Cumbria. Most of that is similar carriageway to the island, and most of it is 50 miles an hour speed limit. I'm not saying that 50 should be the upper speed limit for us. I just think it's time that we had a discussion, basically with road safety in mind. I myself was involved as a younger person, as a passenger, in two quite high-speed car accidents with friends when I was younger, and that's left a lasting impression on me. And I'd like to think that I can then bring that into the discussion if I'm successful on Thursday.